Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, and welcome to this educational presentation where today I want to talk to you about my favorite trading strategy. And I know it's my favorite because I've been actually applying this strategy on a daily basis for over 4 decades. So welcome. My name is Stephen Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading now for 47 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange, where I was on the floor for 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist, where I made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. Now, even though I was a specialist, my first year on the floor, I struggled tremendously, but I was lucky enough to have some mentors who saw how much I was struggling, and they taught me this new method. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today, and this method has stayed with me for the past 47 years or so, and what I feel has sustained me. And I'm going to actually share with you 2 of the rules of this particular strategy today. So let's jump right into it. We're going to be talking about strategy number 4. It's a pattern recognition strategy. So it's based specifically on a pattern that repeats itself over and over again. Now, before we begin, please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using strategy number 4, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Also, since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Okay, so let's begin. As I said, let's jump right into it. We're going to be talking about strategy number 4, and I'm going to be giving you the first 2 rules of the strategy. That makes up 50% of the rules, okay? So you'll be able to apply this to any method you'd like. And if you become a student of mine in the strategy number 4 course, you'll already know these first 2 rules. Firstly, rule number 1, buy and sell signals can only be entered above if it's a buy signal, or below if it's a sell signal, the 50-period simple moving average, okay? So what does that look like? Well, we have a generic chart right here, and we see that price is above the 50-period moving average. So why do we want to have our buy signals above the 50? Well, because we're in sync with the overall trend. We'll have a higher level of consistency if we're always buying in sync with the overall trend. And the same thing goes for the downside. As we see right here, price is below the 50-period moving average. So therefore, the overall trend is down. Therefore, we will only be sellers, or if you don't like to sell and go short, you will be out of the market when the price of whatever market, whatever time frame is below the 50-period moving average. It's that simple. And if you don't believe me how consistent this one little rule is, go back and look at your last 10, 20 trades. I can almost guarantee that the reason you failed or lost in a particular trade is because you were doing the opposite of this rule. Rule number 1, you were buying below the 50-period moving average and selling above. All right, so we know the overall trend. Now we want to know the short-term trend. Well, this brings us to rule number 2. Buy and sell signal bars must close in the top 25% if they're a buy signal, or the bottom 25% of their range if they're a sell signal. This will tell us the short-term range. So in other words, price is above the 50-period moving average, so the overall trend is up. And when we see a bar closing in the top 25%, as we see right here in these green bars, that's telling us that those bars are in sync with the short term. So they have a high probability for price increasing. Why? Because the overall and the short-term trend are now in sync. You see, there's no reason to look at different time frames, to look at different charts. It's very simple. If you keep it simple and only look at the one chart you're looking at, and look at these 2 rules that we've just shared with you, apply these 2 rules, you will be able to increase your odds for consistency. The same thing goes to the downside. The overall trend is down because price is below the 50-period moving average. And when we see a bar close in the bottom 25% of its range towards the low, that's telling us the short-term range wants to go, or the short-term time frame wants to go lower as well. And look what happens. Now, these make up the first 2 rules of strategy number 4, looking at the 50-period moving average in its relation to price, and also identifying bars that close in the top or bottom 25%. Now, the good news is our platform auto-identifies these for you. And even though we teach you what to look for in the course, because I want you to actually know what you're trading, this is not a black box. The beauty of the platform, the PTS Primo charting platform, is that it auto-generates these strategy number 4 signals. And so it automatically takes into account whether price is above or below the 50, whether something closes in the bottom or top 25% of its range. So we make it simple for your trading. So let's look at some recent strategy number 4 examples, and we're going to start off with some buys, okay? Now, remember, I'm only going to be sharing with you the first two rules. I can't give any more evidence as to what makes up strategy 4 because it wouldn't be fair to the students around the world who have actually purchased it. But you'll see these first two rules in action, okay? All right, so let's look at this chart right here. We're looking at a chart in Netflix. Now, someone would say, well, Steve, we're kind of heading lower, but let's see what strategy number 4 is telling us. All we have to do is click on strategy 4 in our green strategies tab with all of our different methods. And in the drop-down menu, you just click on signal arrow. It will tell you where a valid buy or sell signal is. And guess what? There's a buy signal there. So obviously we must be above the 50. And as you can see, we closed in the top portion, the top 25%. So this is a valid signal. The other two rules of the strategy were met as well. And look what happened. The stock went up 42 points coming into this month. Here's another example on Workday, okay? Kind of looks as if the stock is kind of drifting sideways. We're not really sure. We know what the rules are. We don't want to check our work. So we click on strategy 4, click on signal arrow. And where we thought a buy signal was generated, yes, there was a buy signal. So this is how you check your work to see if you're fully understanding the process and what makes a valid strategy number 4 signal. So obviously we must be above the 50-period moving average. And as you can see, we closed in the top 25%. Now the remaining two rules have been met because we also have some other bars like this one that was closing in the top 25%, but it didn't meet the requirements of the pattern. But this one did. So this is a valid signal. And this was in mid-August, and coming into September last month, up 42 points. Now, obviously, some news came out or some event happened that caused it to gap up like this. But isn't it funny how we got in a full week prior to that? Because this pattern is so good at identifying momentum before it actually shows itself on the chart. Let's look at Meta, okay? Someone would look at this and say, well, Steve, we're in a downtrend, so I should stay away from this, right? Well, if we're above the 50, this is just a buying opportunity. Click on strategy 4, and we see that a buy signal was generated right at the low of that so-called downtrend. So this is actually a buying opportunity because we must be above the 50. It wouldn't generate a buy signal if we were below the 50. We closed in the top 25%. And another signal was generated right after that. So you had two chances to buy Meta. This was just about a month ago, before it rallied up 62 points, okay, coming into roughly last week. Now, someone looking at a chart would say, hey, Steve, I'm a support resistance guy. I took that $10,000 course on support and resistance, and this is major, major resistance. This is where all the big money is selling, all the big banks. So I don't want to do anything until it breaks out above, and then I'll be a buyer, okay? But until then, I'm just going to sit back and wait. Well, okay, that's fine, but this is what happens oftentimes when you wait for that. Look what happened on the very next bar. It gapped up. So if you wanted to buy then, you would say, well, gosh, this is where I was thinking about selling. It's too high to buy now. So I'll wait for it to come back down and fill this gap, all right? So you wait, and it goes higher and continues to go higher. So you miss the trade entirely. But if you're trading strategy 4, this is how simple it is. Click on strategy 4. And you would have seen well before that so-called resistance was broken, there was a buy signal here. You see, this is the beauty, once again, of strategy 4, and this is why it's my favorite strategy, is because it can identify when momentum is taking place even before you see it on the chart. So you could have purchased here well in advance of that big up move and potentially captured 65 points in just about a week. Now, looking back at hindsight, we can apply this to a weekly chart. Here's a weekly chart of Costco going all the way back to 2023, about a year and a half ago, okay? Someone looking in hindsight would say, well, yeah, sure, I would have loved to buy this, but who would have known? Well, if you had simply applied strategy 4, you would have seen you had 1, 2, 3, 4 chances to buy Costco on a weekly time frame for an investment or even for a swing trade. And you could have potentially captured over 400 points. So it doesn't matter if we're looking at daily bars of stocks, if we're looking at weekly bars, or if we're looking at an hourly chart of the euro yen. Here's an hourly chart. A buy signal was generated. This was just generated about a week ago, okay? So obviously we are above the 50-period moving average, and obviously we close in the top 25% of its range, so it's a valid buy signal. Now, here's one thing that is included in the course and is what makes our platform so well. Let's say you wanted to buy this, but you're not sure where to get out. You like the euro yen on an hourly time frame, but you're not sure. Well, guess what? You had a nice gain here, but using a technique that I'll talk about later on, an exit technique, you could have exited right here, where in less than a day, you could have potentially captured 185 pips. That's roughly over $1,800 per unit. And guess what? Using this exit technique, which I'll talk about in a few moments, you would have missed the entire sell-off that happened on the next hourly bar. So this is another great advantage to become a student of mine in the Strategy 4 course. You'll understand this exiting technique as well. Okay, we looked at some buys. Let's look at some sells, okay? Because we can also use this to go short or to buy puts, however you'd like. Here's an example in MU, okay? We're looking at Micron technology. Obviously, we're in a strong uptrend. So someone would say, well, Steve, you say if we're in an uptrend that we should be a buyer, right? But remember, we determine an overall uptrend by applying the 50-period moving average. So let's say you think you're in an uptrend and then you see this bar happen next. Well, you say to yourself, wow, okay, well, maybe I should exit or maybe I should get some more. I'm not sure, but we're still in a strong uptrend. Well, obviously we're not, because if you click on Strategy 4, click on Signal Arrow, you would have seen that a sell signal was generated right on this bar. We closed in the bottom 25%. And obviously, we would not generate a sell signal unless it was below the 50-period moving average. So even though we had a really nice, strong up move, this is a selling opportunity, not a buying opportunity. Why? Because look what happened. Had you held on and bought, you would have given it all back. But if you just simply look for a sell, as we have here in Strategy 4, you could have potentially captured 20 points. See, this is the beauty when you're in sync with the overall and the short-term trend. Let's look at FANG, okay? Same thing, it's going higher, right? So most traders would say, well, we've got to buy this. Well, click on Strategy 4, click on Signal Arrow, and obviously you shouldn't buy it. This is a selling opportunity. Once again, this is just a short-term bounce in an overall downtrend. And the short-term trend is down as well because we close in the bottom 25%. So the first two rules of the strategy are met, and the remaining four were met as well. I'm sorry, once again, I can't divulge what they are, but because a sell arrow was generated, this is a valid sell signal. And coming into this month, or last month, I should say, the stock fell 27 points in about 3 weeks. You see how simple this is? Now, a lot of our students don't like to go short. They feel uncomfortable selling short or going against the market. So you can use this as an exiting tool. Let's say you were long FANG and you saw a sell signal generated. Well, maybe you want to get out, use this to exit. You could have saved yourself a 27-point loss. Here's an example in DXCM, okay, Dexcom. Most traders would say, hey, Steve, this is major support again. I'm sorry, but I spent all that money on that support and resistance class. And they say this is where you got to buy it. And if it closes below, well, then maybe I'll sell it, okay? Well, that's fine and dandy if you're able to be in front of your computer all day. But what if you're not able to be in front of your computer? See, if you click on Strategy 4 at the end of the day, you would have noticed that there were two sell signals. So you could have taken advantage of either one at the end of the day. Now, let's see what happened in the future. Well, nothing much happened for the next week, but ultimately we closed below that support. So remember, let's say you're not able to be in front of your computer 24/7. You come home from work and you see that, okay, we broke support, so I'll sell my long position or I'll go short tomorrow. But look what happened. You would have missed it entirely because it gapped much lower. But if you were trading Strategy 4, just like the other example before, you would have known a week in advance to go short. Why? Because strategy number 4 was designed to identify momentum oftentimes before you even see it in the chart. It was already knowing where this momentum was based on this pattern. And had you taken either one of those signals, you could have potentially captured over 50 points in just about a week. Here's a weekly example in DLTR, Dollar Tree. Once again, I like to always tell our students that nothing works 100% of the time. But when you have a consistent method, this means that even if you have a loss, consistency will be able to generate another trade. Hopefully you'll be able to recoup that loss, oftentimes on the next signal. This is a consistent method. So as we see here, Dollar Tree had a buy signal, and you're doing okay on a weekly time frame. Let's say you're holding on to the trade, but then this happens, okay? So most likely using our standard stop losses and exiting point, if you didn't break even, you would have lost roughly about 10 points. Remember, this is a weekly chart, so 10-point loss is pretty average, all right? And this is where most traders, go and sulk and they say, this doesn't work. I had a loss here and I want my money back because he promised me it was going to be consistent. Well, remember, consistency means an awareness that you will have losses from time to time, but a consistent method is one that's able to recoup those losses. So look what happened on that very bar, that weekly bar where it went down. A sell signal was generated. So obviously it's below the 50 and it closes in the bottom 25%. So you got to get back into the trade. And had you done that, you could have potentially captured 65 points. You could have made back that 10 you lost and made potentially 55 points profit. So this is what we mean by consistency. Not every trade is going to be a winner, but oftentimes that loss is recouped on the very next signal. Here's an example of a sell signal in ASML. Okay, sell signal was generated, met all the rules. 175 points coming into roughly about a month ago or 3 weeks ago. All right, so let's review what we shared with you today. Strategy number 4 highlights. Remember, this is a pattern recognition strategy. So we're not looking for an indicator to cross or something moving average type of crossover or something with AI. No, this is just basing the signals off of a pattern that repeats itself over and over again in any market and in any time frame. Strategy number 4 was designed for traders looking to catch momentum. When I first started trading this some 47 years ago, I couldn't believe how many signals there were. It was unbelievable. I was trading this on a 2, 3, 4, 5-minute chart. But with the advent of high-speed computers and with programmers, we're able to give signals not only for intraday, but also for daily bars, weekly bars, even monthly bars, for currency pairs, for crypto, for futures. Now, it only uses this one indicator, and you already know what that is. It's the 50-period moving average. Remember, if price is above the 50, we will only be generating buy signals. If price is below, strategy number 4 will only be generating sell signals. So ask yourself, do you think my favorite strategy, a strategy which I use to this day, by the way, just want to let you know, before this presentation, I was using this on an E-mini chart, intraday E-mini chart. I had roughly 4 trades. My first one was a break even. My second was a loss. My third trade was a win, and my fourth trade was another win. So on balance, I'm up on the day. This is what we mean by consistency. So do you think my favorite strategy can help your trading for the remainder of 2024? I think your answer is yes. So because of that, we have a great offer for all of you attending today. We're going to offer you our most consistent strategy, strategy number 4, at a great, great discount. You're going to get instant course access, detailed instruction, and in the course, I'll teach you all of the different entries, all of the different exits, and all the different stop placements. Remember, we only gave you the first 2 rules, but you'll get everything included, the complete course rules. Remember, you can apply this to any market and any time frame. But we're going to take it up a notch as well. We're also going to include 6 months of the platform that you saw where everything was displayed today, absolutely free. This is a nearly $900 value free for becoming a student in the strategy number 4 course. Now, with the platform, you not only get the strategy for buy and sell signals, but you'll also get other things that, we're just the tip of the iceberg that we're showing here, things that I've accumulated from my 47 years that you won't find on any of the major platforms. Why? Because these are things that I've accumulated from the trading floor. Things like the enhanced buy-sell line. This is 4 different ways to find the overall trend. All right. You'll also get a signal scanner. You can scan for nightly setups in all these different markets: crypto, forex, E-mini, futures, ETFs, NASDAQ, S&P 500. Excuse me. You'll also get a strength of trend tool, a tool that we developed at Proprietary Strategies that has an uncanny ability to tell you if there's more gas left in the tank of a trend or if it's running out of steam. This comes with 90 of the most prominent technical indicators along with personalized tech support. And remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are tons of more tools and techniques on the platform that you'll get absolutely free for 6 months. But this is the best thing, in my opinion, the auto-generated exit levels. This is what I talked about and showed you before. Let me show you how this works. All right, here's an example of an actual setup in ILMN, okay? Now, buy signal was generated about 3 weeks ago, strategy number 4. Let's say you're not really sure you want to buy this, but you don't know where to get out. This is just one of the different exit techniques we teach you, and it's auto-displayed on the platform. So what you do is, on our platform, once again, click on strategy 4. In the drop-down menu, instead of signal arrow, what you want to do is go down to range extension. And once you click that on, it will automatically show you these pre-displayed places to exit, and you can choose which one. If you're the type of trader that likes to get in and out quickly, you choose 1 or possibly 2. If you're a swing trader, most likely choose exit level number 2. And if you're trying to get the most bang for your buck, exit level 3, and sometimes exit level number 4. Let's say we thought this was going high, so we want to exit at exit level 3 right here, okay? Well, look what happened. In about a week, we got up there and we made 10 points. Now, some would say, well, yeah, Steve, 10 points, I thought I'd get a big profit out of this, but look how uncanny it picks these exit levels. Got right up there, and had you held on for more, say 15, 20 points, you would have given away all of your profit. So these are really great tools to have. Let's look at another example. This one's in the euro yen that I had talked about earlier, that 1-hour trade. Let's say you didn't know where to exit. Once again, just click on strategy 4. In the drop-down menu, click on range extension, exits. And if you decided to pick the highest range extension exit, you could have quickly made roughly 185 pips. This was just all in one day on an hourly time frame. And look what happened after your exit, straight down. Another example, an LIN. 2 buy signals were generated. You had 4 exits that were auto-generated on the platform. You could have chosen any one. A lot of our students like to take a little bit off at each level. So in other words, let's say you had 200 shares of LIN, you'd sell 50 shares here, 50 here, 50 here, and 50 here, and exit the entire position. Because look what happened. After you exited at the 4th and highest level, price fell. So we always tell students at the 3rd or 4th level, you should decide to get out of everything. And this goes for going short as well. And CDNS, once again, the same process. Click on strategy 4, click on range extension, and you automatically see where these levels are. If you want to take a quick profit, you place your cover point right here, or more of a swing trader here, or for the final exit right here. Let's say we chose this one. In roughly about a week, we have a nice 27-point gain. And look what happened after that. We would have given it all back if we held on longer. If we look at a 4-hour chart of the Canadian dollar, we had 3 exit levels displayed. Let's say we took the most prominent one here at the very bottom. Now we got out with 120 pips in about less than a week. That's $1,200 roughly per unit. And look what happened. We would have given back roughly half or 2/3 of our gain if we held on. And then lastly, SMPS. Once again, 2 signals were generated. Click on strategy 4. Click on range extensions. This is how simple it is. And you automatically see where these are even before you enter into the trade. You can find out where they are. Let's say we took the last one displayed. This was just about 3 weeks ago. You could have exited with a 72-point gain, all right? Now, even though it went lower for the next 3 days, look what happened after that. So that's the beauty of these range extensions. These come auto-displayed on the platform, and you're getting 6 months free of the platform. And that's just one of the things. It's just the tip of the iceberg that you won't find anywhere else other than on the PTS Primo Charts. So let's break this down, okay? Strategy number 4, complete course and rules manual. This includes a scanner. It's a $695 value, nearly $700. But we're also going to include free real-time PTS Primo Charts for 6 months and nearly $900 value. Normally, it's going to cost you close to $1,600. We realize that's expensive for a lot of people, so we're going to slash that. And we're going to give you the platform absolutely free. You only have to pay $695. You're going to save nearly 60%. Once again, that's a nearly $900 savings. Now, here's another thing. If $695 is still a little bit too rich for your blood, if you have trouble making that up, or you've bought some other $10,000 course that promised the world and now it's produced nothing but losses, well, guess what? You can contact Pro Trader Strategies. They'd be happy to set up a payment plan with you, even for $695, okay? Invest in yourself. Take your trading to the next level with strategy number 4. I say this, and a lot of people don't believe me, but I say this in all honesty. I trade this every day, and I've continued to trade it for over 4 decades. It's my favorite trading strategy. I really think it can help you. And once again, all of my students will get my personal email address. So if you have any trouble with it, you don't understand the pattern, you can contact me whenever you'd like, and I'll be right there to answer any questions. Okay, here's how to take advantage of this great offer. Contact my sister site. That's Pro Trader Strategies. You can call them. I would say that's probably the best thing to do at 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants already manning the phones. They would be more than happy to take your $695 discount over the phone or answer any questions you may have. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page. You'll have more information on that page, but it's not a live link. So you have to copy and paste that if you like. But if you look on the chat box, just open that little chat icon, you'll see a live link has been posted there. And you can just click on that link and a browser will appear with the info page, okay? You can also sign up on there if you'd like as well, okay? Now, if you have any questions right now is the time to ask. Remember, I'll be happy to answer any questions, but if this webinar does conclude, you can always contact Pro Trader Strategies and they will be more than happy, okay? Someone's saying, is this a live course? No, this is not live. This is a video course, but it's yours to keep. And you can research it and go back and look at it over and over again. And an online course, and you can study it, and it's yours forever. And along with that, as I said, you get my personal email address where it comes straight to me. Doesn't go to an assistant, doesn't go to an intern or a salesperson. You get my private email address. It comes right to me, and I will answer any question you have. You can email me prior to the open, during market hours, after the close, or even on the weekends. And I will be there to answer your question as soon as possible, okay? Now, one of the things we didn't mention also, if you'd like to follow us and get more information, you can follow us on Twitter. There's our handle right there, at SPCLST, Every day I post 5 or 6 different snapshots of signals our strategies have generated, along with a little bit of financial wisdom. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube. We are live streaming this right now on YouTube. And if you want more and more of these presentations, subscribe, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and we'd be more than happy to give you more content, okay? Okay, if there are no questions, as we conclude and we'll take one last look at our disclaimer, thank you so much for taking your time out of your Wednesday today. I hope you learned something about what we really feel can help and elevate your trading. But most especially, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the Strategy Number 4 course. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Wednesday, and hope to see you in class. Bye-bye.